Hello and welcome. Tonight, Independent National Electoral Commission declares All Progressives Congress candidate Monday Okpebholo winner of Saturday's governorship election in Edo State. Supporters of People's Democratic Party take to the streets of Benin City, the Edo State capital, to protest alleged manipulation of the Edo governorship election results. Election observer groups urge INEC to invoke its constitutional powers to review any declaration where the results were not declared voluntarily or violated the provisions of the Electoral Act. And at least 51 persons are dead following an explosion caused by a gas leak at a coal mine in eastern Iran. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has declared the All Progressives Congress candidate, Senator Monday Okpebholo, as the winner of Saturday's governorship election in Edo State. Senator Okpebholo beat his main challengers, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Asue Ighodalo, and that of the Labour Party, Olumide Akpata. The returning officer, Professor Farouk Kuta, declared Okpebholo as the winner of the poll at the Collation Center in Benin City, the Edo State capital, with 291,667 votes, while his closest rival, the PDP candidate, polled 247,274 votes.
I, Professor Farouk Adamu Kuta, hereby certify that I am the returning officer for the 2024 Edo State governorship election held on the 21st of September 2024. That the election was contested, the candidate received the following votes. Party A, 222 votes. Party AA, 206 votes. Party AAC, 273 votes. Party ADC, 1,956 votes. Party ADP, 1,099 votes. Party APC, 291,667 votes. Party ABGA, 1,242 votes. Party APM, 151 votes. Party APP, 144 votes. Party BP, 217 votes. Party LP, 2,763 votes. Party NNPP, 1,034 votes. Party NRM, 720 votes. Party PDP, 247,274 votes. Party PRP, 635 votes. Party SDP, 537 votes. Party YPP, 296 votes. Party ZLP, 254 votes. That Okpebholo Monday of APC, having satisfied the requirement of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected. Signed by the returning officer, Professor Farouk Adamu Kuta, this day, 22nd day of September 2024.
Meanwhile, the hours leading to the announcement of the result and declaration of the winner of the Edo 2024 governorship election were far from quiet, with different reactions emanating from stakeholders. In particular, the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, and its supporters, through press conferences and protests, registered their observations in Benin City, the Edo State capital. Our correspondent, Jessica Olubuse, reports.
When polls for the Edo 2024 governorship election closed on Saturday, focus shifted to the collation of results, and the INEC state headquarters on Benin Auchi Road in Benin City, the Edo State capital, designated the State Collation Center, begins to receive interested parties. Party members and supporters, as well as other stakeholders, wait patiently for the exercise to commence. However, as the night deepened and it seemed information from the electoral umpire concerning this stage of the electoral process was scarce, the party supporters become agitated.
The collation officers were not allowed to do their jobs. The REC started collating by himself using one Mrs. Anna. And they said the woman is the one who does all the dirty jobs for them at the INEC headquarters. She's APC, body, soul, and spirit. I used to think that election umpires have no political party. But from what they have said to me this evening, the woman is APC. She's the one that distributed money to people trying to see if they could change it. But the Edo people doesn't change. They couldn't subvert the will of the wishes of the Edo people. What happened? They took all those things inside, and they are trying to now. They are not trying to. They are rewriting the results. They are doing the same thing. Shomole and Phillips, they are doing the same thing at Auchi, and people are resisting it.
Sometime in the early hours of Sunday, the governor of the state, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, who had come into the INEC office earlier, is escorted out of the premises. Some supporters of the APC react to his departure with chants. INEC, through a statement, discloses its plan to open the collation of local government area results at 10 a.m. on Sunday. Prior to the collation opening, Governor Obaseki holds a press conference where he explains his presence at the INEC headquarters earlier.
At about 1 a.m., I got a report that collation was supposed to have been moved to the INEC head office. I also got reports from our agents that PDP agents were not allowed into the collation process. At that point in time, I called the REC to find explanation as to what was going on. There was no response. I then went to INEC to seek to meet with the REC to try and understand what steps the INEC was taking to continue the process of collation. When I got in there at about 2 a.m., I did not see any collation taking place. And the REC refused to come out to explain what the situation was.
The governor of Adamawa State and the PDP governorship candidate also addressed members of the press.
In Edo South local government, collation process was stopped in Oredo and Upper Waha and Ego, and moved illegally to the state headquarters of the State Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in Benin, on the instruction of the Assistant Inspector General of Police, in complete breach of the statutory collation process.
From our perspective, the way these elections are going, they're probably going to be the worst elections in the history of this country. We have information, for instance, where we have over 20 polling units, where the votes, the accredited voters, are less than the total votes, which is not possible. We have over 20 polling units from the results that were announced yesterday, where from their unaccredited voters, the total votes that they've now announced are more than the accredited voters.
These protesters supporting the PDP gave vent to their grievances streets away from the INEC headquarters. The collation center, filled with stakeholders, including party agents, election observers, journalists, and INEC officials, eventually opens at 11:40 a.m. The center, which gave room for observations from party agents, succeeded in collating the results from 16 local government areas shortly before 3 p.m. It, however, announces a recess as results from the remaining 2 local government areas were still being awaited. Again, another press conference from the camp of the PDP, this time the state party chairman who speaks.
You would expect
that the figures, the summation of the figures on Form EC8A should or ought to be the same as the ones you will get on IREP. You will also expect that the announcement by the chief returning officer for the state or by the LGA returning officer at the State Collation Center should also tally with the previous two figures because it's about the same thing. What we have noticed, once again, preliminary analysis shows that there is massive discrepancies in those three figures for nearly all the local governments in the state.
Away from the briefing, the INEC State Collation Center reopens around 5:20 p.m. to collate the results from the remaining two local government areas well before its final declaration. Jessica Olubose, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, has appealed to residents to remain calm over the outcome of the September 21st governorship election, as announced by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Now, he urged aggrieved persons to explore the legal options to express their reactions to the governorship poll. According to him, the poll was marred with disregard to the processes and rule of law. Governor Obaseki made the appeal during a special broadcast on the aftermath of the 2024 governorship election, which he also described as a travesty of justice. Now, officers of the Nigerian police today displayed their combat readiness skills around Benin City, the Edo State capital, in the aftermath of the governorship election in Edo State. Now, the convoy moved from the command headquarters to streets and area commands in the state. Speaking to journalists, the Force Public Relations Officer, Olumoyiwa Adejobi, explained that the exercise is to further assure residents of peace in Edo State.
It's a normal thing that we just need to prepare in case there's any incident we need to manage, situation we need to manage. So the IGP has directed that we should have this. It's a normal thing that we'll have show of force, as we have in this place, we're having in some other cities again within the Edo State, so that people will know we're on ground and we can actually be at alert, so that if we have any situation that we need to manage, we're able to respond appropriately and professionally. So it's a normal thing, and we move around the town in Benin City for people to know that we're on ground and we are for peace. We don't want any situation whereby people or hoodlums will take over our streets, we take over many places or strategic places within Benin City. We have done deployment again. Now, I said yesterday that we always review our deployment strategies. Now that the election is almost over, we are waiting for the announcement of the final results and the winner to be declared. We have reviewed deployment strategy again. We have done more deployment to take care of certain areas.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has congratulated Senator Monday Okpebolo, the All Progressives Congress candidate in Saturday's Edo State governorship election, on his victory at the polls. President Tinubu also commended the APC national leaders, Edo State leaders, and party governors for working hard to achieve the victory. He says the victory testified to the people's support for the ruling party, its progressive ideals, its economic re-engineering programs, and its commitment to improving the lives of Nigerians. The president urges Senator Okpebolo not to gloat over his victory, but to see it as a challenging call to service. He also encouraged him to demonstrate magnanimity by reaching out to his political rivals and uniting the people of Edo State to ensure its development. President Tinubu also praised other candidates who participated in the election for their contributions to advancing Nigeria's democracy, saying peaceful political contests such as the one on Saturday portray Nigeria as a stable democracy. In part two, after the break, Channels Television's Jessica Olubose joins us from Benin City for a review of the Edo State governorship election. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television. A reminder of our main stories. Independent National Electoral Commission declares All Progressives Congress candidate Monday Okwebolo winner of Saturday's governorship election in Edo State. Supporters of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, take to the streets of Benin City, the Edo State capital, to protest alleged manipulation of the Edo governorship election result. Election observer groups urge INEC to invoke its constitutional powers to review any declarations where results were not declared voluntarily or violated the provisions of the Electoral Act. And at least 51 persons are dead following an explosion caused by a gas leak at a coal mine in eastern Iran. Right now, let's head to the state of Benin, or the Edo State capital, that is, Benin City, where our correspondent Jessica Olugwese is standing by. Jessica, take us through the events that happened today. Of course, we already know the winner of the Edo governorship election. Over to you.
Hello, good evening. Yes, the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Monday Okwebolo, has been declared winner of the Edo governorship election held on Saturday across the two local government areas of Edo State. Now, this took place at the collation center today for the exercise. The collation center is within the premises of the INEC headquarters in Benin City, the Edo State capital. Now, Professor Farouk of the Federal University of Technology, Mina, Niger State, was the state's returning officer for the exercise, and he declared him winner after hours of the results from the local government areas being collated. Now, the collation center was to open at 10 o'clock, but this does not happen at that time. It eventually opened at about 20 minutes to 12, and when it opened, the results from 16 of the local government areas, out of the 18 local government areas in Edo State, were collated one after the other. Now, the center, the collation center, gave the opportunity for party agents to raise concerns or observations, which the parties took advantage of and did from time to time when they were not comfortable with the results or whatever observations they had at that point. They had the opportunity to raise or make their observations, and this continued till about a few minutes past 2, when they announced a break, a recess, to enable them to get the remaining 2 results from 2 local government areas, Oedo and Ikubaoka local government area. That recess was to hold till 5 p.m. and they eventually returned to continue with the collation of those results. But before the entire results were collated, there were incidents outside of this place, outside of this center. There were protests at some point from the People's Democratic Party supporters. There were press conferences by the state government, press conference by the People's Democratic Party, expressing their dissatisfaction with the announcements or the results they could hear were being released up to that time. However, when it was 5 o'clock, the collation did not resume at that time, but subsequently when it did, the remaining results from the 2 local government areas were collated. And after that, while we were waiting for this to happen, the the officers around chose to opted to enter the results into the sheet while waiting for the remaining results to come in.
All right, Jessica. So, Jessica, I hope you. I guess we're going to have to leave it at that. Of course, so much you've talked about, and of course, a whole lot has indeed happened in the course of the election. But thank you so much for your observation and, of course, your coverage of the Edo election. And moving on now, the governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, has appealed to residents to remain calm over the outcome of the September 21st governorship poll, as announced by the electoral umpire INEC. Now, the governor urged aggrieved persons to explore the legal options to express their reactions to the governorship poll, where, according to him, the poll was marred with disregard to the processes and rule of law. He made the appeal during a special broadcast on the aftermath of the 2024 governorship poll, which he also described as a travesty of justice.
My dear good people of Edo State, in the last few months, the various political parties have embarked on very rigorous campaigns to sell their respective candidates for the office of governor to the people of Edo State, in an exercise which came to a climax yesterday. The attractive thing about democracy is the power it bestows on the people to choose who governs them. Therefore, when this power is blatantly seized from the people, it is not just a tragedy, but a travesty of democracy. Regrettably, the outcome of the September 21st governorship election appears to have daunted the spirit of many Edo people who feel powerless in the face of the brute force of the institutions that are supposed to protect them. It is therefore understandable that many people feel sad and aggrieved. But in the midst of this despair, I'm urging all my fellow Edo citizens to maintain calm and not resort to violence and the destruction of property in spite of this provocation. Peace and justice will always win at the end, and this is my prescription to all the good people of Edo State who feel vexed and violated at this time. Clearly, it is obvious to the least discerning the amount of impunity and reckless disregard for processes and law that was displayed in this gubernatorial election. In a democracy, there are always safeguards for addressing grievances, and we hope that all those affected will seek resolution for this blatant disregard of law and process. With this in mind, I implore all Edo people to go about their lawful businesses and rest assured of the commitment of our government to your well-being and security. God bless the people of Edo State. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Now, the result of the Edo governorship election, of course, means different things to different people. Tonight, Babajide Ogunsawo, founder of Leadership by Data and Channels Television's data analyst, is right here to share more insights about the governorship election in Edo State. Babajide, it's great to have you again.
Good evening, Ayatunde.
All right, so the elections have come and gone. The winner has been announced. But looking at what has played out in this governorship election, Babajide, are you surprised at the results?
There are a lot of ways to look at it. Yes, I'm surprised because for a lot of people it means two things, just as you've said. There are some people that look at these results and say it signals a sign of the end times. Some look at it and say nothing is impossible. What I mean, Ayatunde, is for the first time, citizens in Edo will have a governor based on this election, the results that have been declared, that's only one out of Edo's 3 zones. You heard me clearly. The winner that has been declared only won the majority of votes in Edo North. Edo Central and Edo South was won by the PDP candidate. So this is the first time in Edo's history that the governor will be declared winner, though he won only in 1 senatorial district. So for those people, they look at it as a sign of the end times. For those in the APC, they say nothing is impossible. But fundamentally, Ayatunde, there are 3 ways I want us to quickly take a look at this. The first is we all missed it. We said going into this election, it was Edo decides. But based on the realities and what Sheung and our other correspondents have described this election, it wasn't really Edo decides, it was bribery decides. What we saw was manipulation decides. And some observers are even saying INEC decides.
Do we have these on full authority? I mean,
earlier today, the civil society organizations, especially groups like UNGA, released a message that showed, and they clearly in their message said they are concerned about the transparency of this election. And that tweet was made by UNGA, and we had all the organizations sign up to that message. But beyond that, the other concern is this is the 7th time we're having governorship elections since 1999 in Edo State. The question is, are we making progress with our governorship elections, especially with what we've seen in Edo? And finally, when we still talk about the fundamentals, people talk about the global standard of elections in the world. And if we were to use this, for instance, and we were to just put this as a sign of what the global standard and how transparent elections should be, if this is the global standard, Ayotunde, what will the Nigerian standard look like? And I would like you to take a look at the global standard. And here's what the Nigerian standard looks like. So we see clearly that we are still far. When we conduct our elections, we are so far. The image of what the global standard looks like and how transparent it should be and what the Nigerian standard is quite different today.
So is there any correlation, Babajide, as to how the people of Edo State voted, during the last presidential election and this present election, the governorship poll?
Some correlation. We see if the candidates are taking a look at the results of 2023, and if you take a look at that, it had shown a bit of what was about to happen in 2024. Here's what I mean. If we take a look at the result pattern and what exactly played out in Edo last year, what you find out is across the 3 zones, yes, the Labour Party had the highest number of votes. What that signaled was the people had shown a willingness to switch. The second was, even though the PDP was in power, the PDP didn't get second in any of the zones. Across all the zones in the presidential election, the PDP scored 3rd in each zone. Finally, looking at what happened in the 2023 presidential election, the Labour Party won all zones apart from Edo North. What happened in Edo North? The APC won Edo North because of that popular strong man that they have in their politics, Adams Oshiomhole. Tony, let me make it very clear. Since 2008, when Governor Adams Oshiomhole won his governorship election, whoever he supports in Edo North always wins. In simple terms, whichever camp Adams Oshiomhole belongs to, and whoever he throws his back into in Edo North always wins, despite whatever happens in elections. And so we saw that pattern still play out in this election. The candidate that has won the election, APC, won only in Edo North. In Edo North, the APC, across all their combined votes, scored approximately half of their votes from Edo North. Even though the PDP candidate won in Edo Central, even though the PDP candidate won in Edo South, the sort of votes the team behind the APC candidate and Adams Oshiomhole pulled out based on the results that have been declared shows that the magic for APC, whatever side you want, whatever way you want to explain that magic, the magic really happened in Edo North.
So, Babajide, a moment ago you were talking about the election observers and what they saw from all that transpired in this election. Now, Governor Obaseki, as well as the observers, have also shown concerns about this election, the process of the conduct of the elections. How significant are these concerns, especially for the governor?
So, if we look at how did Governor Obaseki win his 2020 elections? Same way, he won in Edo Central and Edo South. This time, the candidate of the PDP that Obaseki supports is also won the elections in Edo Central and Edo South. The challenge is that the sort of margins the APC had in Edo North this time around was significant. So in 2020, we see big numbers for Godwin Obaseki in Edo South, big numbers for him in Edo Central. He did not win Edo North because Adams Oshiomhole was clearly campaigning for Eze Yamu. But this time around, what we've seen is Asue Ighodalo won Edo South. He got the majority in Edo South. Asue Ighodalo got the majority in Edo Central. However, Monday, got the majority, significant majority in Edo North, and his majority in Edo North was able to make up for the losses he had in Edo South and in Edo Central. That sums up exactly what happened in this election. Well, I tell you, we could, perhaps a lot of Nigerians are asking, what exactly do these numbers look like? So we can take a look at these zones so that people can look at these numbers and interpret if these numbers reflected the choices of the majority or if they didn't. So if we take a look at the results overall, and let's take a look at what the results that have been declared by INEC, what it looks like across each zone, then we'll find out there are really shocking details in it.
So, what's the next frontier for the people of Edo State? Or Edo State in general?
It's, first is, there's a lot of bridge building that needs to be done. Yes, we know this might not be the last. Clearly, the other parties have expressed concerns, especially because, like I said, this is the first time in Edo's history that they will have a governor that only won in one zone despite their two other zones. So there's a lot of bridge building. Let's take a look at these results, and clearly the statistics provide more insight about what needs to be done. We see Edo North, Monday, Okwebolo, 130,000 votes in Edo North compared to Aso Ighodalo's 76,959 votes. So we see those huge numbers, especially for the APC candidates across Akoko Edo and Esako West. So the Edo North Senatorial District was really what gave the APC the victory. The sort of margins, some call them magic numbers. However, the APC says nothing is impossible. INEC has declared this result, and these results stand. Huge margins for the APC in Edo North. However, in Edo Central, Aso Ighodalo wins based on the results we have. However, the margins were not big. Victory margins for Aso Ighodalo in Edo Central of less than 10,000 votes. That is the challenge. And look at Edo South. Victory for Aso Ighodalo in Edo South, margin of victory just about 3,000. So in summary, Aso Ighodalo won this election in Edo Central. He won this election in Edo South. However, according to INEC and the results that have been declared, his margin of defeat in Edo North was so significant that the APC candidate won.
Babajide, Channels Television's data analyst, will leave it at that, but thank you so much.
Interesting days ahead.
Interesting days
ahead. Let's not
ahead.
forget, we need to improve our standard of elections.
We'll leave it at that. Still ahead on the news at 10, experts at the Summit of the Future in New York discuss ways of achieving truth, trust, and hope in the global information environment. Please join us again. Welcome back to the news at 10. 9 months after the sealing of Taurus Depot in Koko, Warri North local government area of Delta State, residents are appealing to the authorities to open the depot, which they say has caused untold hardship on them. The residents, who have held several protests over the closure of the depot, took their latest agitation to the premises of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. The protesters, carrying different placards and chanting songs of solidarity, say they want President Bola Tinubu to direct the relevant authorities to open the depot.
We are appealing to NNPC, ND, what is it called, Regulatory Authority, to come to the level of our understanding by doing the needful, by opening up the depot. As I speak with you, the vessel, they tie it to the jetty. The jetty the jetty is supplying the 4 companies are using that jetty to supply their PMS and their byproducts. As I speak with you, that jetty, the vessel is there. And community gets some responsible remunerations from the jetty when the vessel comes. For the past 9 months, nothing is coming to the community. Our workers, our brothers and sisters have been dropped, no salary, more than 150 workers. And as I'm talking to you, these things are coming to another effect to a peaceful community, which is Koko. Yeah. Koko is not known for crime. But because of this blockage now, if you go to Taros Road, it's called the commercial hub of Koko. As I speak with you, that place is lock and key. So all efforts for us to meet, we don't even know what to meet, but we know that it is this office that regulates tank farm in Koko.
Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Umar Eno has made a commitment to continue to promote peace and unity to ensure development in the state. The governor made the promise in Uyo, the state capital, during an interdenominational Thanksgiving service to mark the 37th anniversary of Akwa Ibom State.
It's been 37 years since the creation of Akwa Ibom State. As part of events to mark the anniversary, indigents of the state are gathered at the prestigious International Worship Center in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital, for an interdenominational Christian service for the numerous achievements so far recorded by the state.
Your Excellency,
with the theme, Peace Within Thy Walls and Prosperity Within Thy Palaces, the event is a gathering unifying all shades of opinion as attendance cuts across political party lines and ethnic divides. The people are full of enthusiasm as they sing and dance in appreciation for God's grace and blessings to the state. In his homily, Reverend Amawo Akpan enjoins political, religious and traditional leaders to embrace the all-inclusive policy of the Umoino administration to promote unity in Akwa Ibom State.
But God has given us a man that believes in inclusivity in governance. So God bless you in the name of Jesus Christ. Politicians learn from this man after 8 years. So you will never take us back to Egypt. We have never been in Egypt. God has blessed Akwa Ibom State from inception, and we can attest to that. And then there will be peace if we have good and godly followership. Those who pray for leaders in authority according to 1 Timothy chapter 2 from verse 1. Those who obey the laws of the land according to Romans chapter 13 and submit to the authority.
The first message of goodwill.
Speakers at the event are full of commendation for the governor for promoting peace among the various ethnic groups and political parties in the state.
Your Excellency, thank you for resolving the TRC issue in Akwa Ibom State. It was a burning issue. But you stood out as a man of peace, as a man of God, as a man who is interested in the unity of Akwa Ibom State to resolve it.
Your Excellency, I want to compliment you because you have united Akwa Ibom. Nobody can ever think that this is a place that used to translate simple English news into 9 different languages. I congratulate you.
Christocentric leadership.
Governor Umoino pays glowing tributes to the founding fathers of the state and his predecessors for making a commitment to continue promoting unity and development in the state.
2 things: work of reconciliation. The second one is to carry the finisher's anointing and begin to finish the projects that have been started by our predecessors and move Akwa Ibom to the next level.
Over the next couple of days, the celebration will continue in Akwa Ibom State with several other activities already lined up.
The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, says he's optimistic that the 800 cadets that will soon pass out as junior military officers will add value in the ongoing fight against banditry, terrorism, kidnapping, militancy, and other forms of criminalities across the country. The Defense Chief also said that the military and other agencies of the armed forces are unwaveringly committed to eliminate all bandit commanders in the Northwest, in addition to restoring total peace in the country. He was speaking at the regimental dinner organized for the graduating cadets of 71 regular course, Direct Short Service Course 28 and 32, Air Force of the Nigerian Defense Academy in Kaduna State.
Ahead of their passing out from the Nigerian Defense Academy, these cadets, who will soon turn to junior military officers, are hosted to a dinner which is attended by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, the NDA Commandant, and other top military officers. Addressing the cadets, the Chief of Defense Staff reminds them of the importance of discipline, dedication, and loyalty in military service, especially at a time Nigeria is combating several internal security challenges, which has placed a heavy burden on the armed forces. He also wants parents of graduating cadets to stop influencing the posting of their children.
There's much expectation on you You must understand that now. It is not a tea party. Parents are interfering with where officers are to be posted, even to which corps. I even understand that even while coming to academy, people want to also influence which battalion they go to, which service they go to. That is totally unacceptable.
During the event, the defense chief demonstrates his music skills as he leads the military band to a performance that added glamour to the colorful event. Highlight of the regimental dinner is the presentation of awards to cadets who distinguished themselves during their training. In an interview, the Chief of Defense Staff enumerates the recent military operational successes recorded in the Northwest Zone, noting that such will be sustained, especially with the injection of more boots on the ground.
We want them to understand that they have a duty when they come out as officers to defend Nigeria. So wherever they find themselves in operation, it's important that they have the buy-in of the citizens. They must understand that we're here for the people as members of the armed forces.
The regimental dinner night is an important military tradition that affords graduating cadets the rare opportunity to meet and interact with senior serving and retired military officers in a relaxed social atmosphere.
Vice President Shettima has departed Abuja for the United States to attend the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly. President Bola Tinubu had directed the Vice President to lead the Nigerian delegation to the high-level global forum, where he will be focusing on addressing pressing domestic issues, including the recent devastating flood disasters. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications, Office of the Vice President, Stanley Kwacha, says during the session, Vice President Shettima will deliver Nigeria's national statement, participate in key meetings on the sidelines of the event, and engage in bilateral meetings. The high-level general debate themed Leaving No One Behind, Acting Together for the Advancement of Peace, Sustainable Development, and Human Dignity for Present and Future Generations is scheduled to take place from September the 24th to the 28th this year. As world leaders gather for the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly, a number of events are already underway in New York on the sidelines of the meeting. And one of them is the Summit of the Future, where experts from various fields are discussing a pact for the future. The summit, put together by the UN's Department of Global Communications, covers a broad range of areas including peace and security, sustainable development, climate change, and digital cooperation.
Policymakers, scientists, members of civil societies, top media executives, and other experts are at a high-level meeting as part of the United Nations Summit on the Future Action Days. And the Vice President of the organization, Anna Dwagi, welcomes all participants to the events.
Share our data and make our models.
They're considering the theme Truth, Trust, and Hope, the global information environment, putting principles in practice.
Given this burgeoning ecosystem and its importance, the mission of our panel is to build global and cross-disciplinary scientific consensus on the operationalization of AI auditing and on the capabilities and limitations of the existing audit ecosystem.
Part of the discussion also borders on global trend in artificial intelligence and social media and how to ensure human rights with information integrity.
We tackle many kinds of threats to information integrity: algorithmic manipulation, bias, hate speech, misleading information, infrastructure interference, deepfakes, and poor design choices. These things have poisoned our global information environment. From genocides driven by social media manipulation to biases in hiring, the cost is billions of dollars, millions of lives, and an erosion of trust in evidence, our institutions, and each other. Indeed, I've come to think of misinformation as the existential threat that prevents action on so many other existential threats, crises, and complex humanitarian disasters. In response to this crisis, over the last 2 years, a global community of scientists has come together to identify challenges and do the research needed to find solutions.
This raises the question to whom misinformation flows with the most serious consequences. Citizens can, of course, be misinformed, but so can policymakers and international agencies overseeing climate regulation. Lastly, climate misinformation has effects on what people do to ecosystems, what we all do to our ecosystems.
Considering the critical role the media and information play in a vibrant democracy, the gathering agrees that steps must be taken to ensure digital accountability and improved information integrity.
Meanwhile, some of the panelists on the information environment and partners discussed global trends on AI and social media and how to advance human rights and the SDGs with information integrity.
Misinformation being and disinformation being almost as equal a danger as war and other climate. What we have found in our global principles is that while the UN is working on trying to make the world a better place everywhere, it is having a hard time making progress because of the toxic information environments in which we are operating.
We believe in a comprehensive approach, reflecting the direction taken by the global principles on information integrity published by the UN under Ms. Fleming's leadership. Brazil advocates for platform and AI regulation that underpins information integrity and can ensure that digital spaces are safe and conducive to public discourse. We believe that regulation must balance freedom of expression with the responsibility of digital platforms to protect users from illegal and harmful content and to support journalism.
Building consensus is another vital aspect. Science is not done in isolation. It is a collective effort where many voices contribute to refining our knowledge. Initiatives like the new International Panel on the Information Environment, the IPIE, which is dedicated to building scientific consensus on critical information issues, exemplifies this process.
But in the modern newsroom, transparency is very essential. Journalists must be diligent in their fact-checking now more than ever before. And today, almost every citizen carries the tools of a journalist in their pockets with their mobile phones. People capture and share content before journalists arrive on the scene. But while they can generate news-like materials, what often is missing is a context. And this is where we have to up the ante. And without context, the story can be misleading or manipulated.
It's mixed fortunes for Nigerian clubs on the continent as Rangers International FC pushed for a slot in the group stage of the CAF Champions League has been dashed by Angola's Sagrada. The Angola club beat Nigeria's Rangers 3-1 in the return leg of their preliminary clash to progress 3-2 on aggregate. Meanwhile, two-time African champions Enyimba advanced to the group stage of the CAF Confederation Cup, seeing off Burkina Faso's Etoile Finati 3-1 on penalties after a goalless draw in regulation time. John Stones' 98th minute equaliser salvaged a 2-2 draw for Manchester City against 10-man Arsenal in a bad-tempered clash between the two favourites for the English Premier League title earlier today. The Gunners played the entire second half a man down after Belgian international Leandro Trossard was sent off, but were seconds away from inflicting City's first home defeat since November 2022. Brighton and Nottingham Forest remain unbeaten in the Premier League after a frantic 2-2 draw at the Amex and produced for the Amex, which produced 3 red cards, with Morgan Gibbs-White and both managers sent off in the closing moments. In boxing, Anthony Joshua has no plans to quit the sport yet, despite his disappointing defeat to the IBF heavyweight title holder Daniel Dubois. Here is more on the bout at Wembley and other sporting events.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce, you may have heard of him now, the IBF World Heavyweight Champion, Dynamite Daniel Dubois.
Britain's Daniel Dubois says he's ready for more after standing 5th round knockout of Anthony Joshua to retain his IBF belt in front of a record 96,000 spectators at Wembley Stadium. Joshua was on the back foot from the outset and never recovered as Dubois sealed victory in 5 rounds.
Yeah, definitely. It does. It feels great. I feel like the champ, and I want to keep this belt. Just keep this train running. It's great. Yeah. Yeah, they all were saying I was going to get knocked out, and we all saw we got knocked out, and I done the business, and I'm just, I was glad I proved everyone wrong. But this is the start of my journey. This is the start for me.
On the flip side, Anthony Joshua vows he will continue fighting despite his dream of becoming a 3-time heavyweight world champion was dashed by his British rival Dubois.
Probably you're asking, do I still want to continue fighting? Of course I want to continue fighting. That's what I said is, we took a shot at success and we came up short. And what does that mean now? We're going to run away? Or we're going to live to fight another day? And that's what I'm a warrior. And also, before I finish, we have to give credit to our opponent as well, Daniel. Even though when I sign up to fight opponents, I don't really like him in my head anymore.
At least 51 people have been killed in an explosion caused by a gas leak at a coal mine in eastern Iran. More than 20 other people were injured in the incident. Authorities have established that the blast was caused by a methane gas explosion in 2 blocks of the mine in Tabas, south of Khorasan province. That's 540 kilometers southeast of the capital, Tehran. At least 4 people have been killed and 18 others injured, or 18 more injured, in a mass shooting in Birmingham, Alabama. Police say multiple shooters fired multiple shots on a group of people late on Saturday in the 5 Points South area of the city. Officers found the bodies of 2 men and 1 woman at the scene, while the 3rd man later died of bullet wounds in hospital. And the main news again. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has declared the All Progressives Congress candidate, Monday Okwebolo, as the winner of Saturday's governorship election in Edo State. The APC candidate polled 291,667 votes to beat his closest rivals, while Governor Godwin Obaseki has called for calm over the results. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. From all of us here, it's good night and please stay safe.